Hey, what's up guys, my name is UQZ and welcome back to another little bit tournament edition that we're doing on FIFA 23. We got another tournament this time. I have created it's called the best tournament. I'm just calling it the best because guess what guys, we're including the best teams from all over the world. If you guys saw my Club World Cup, it pretty much was, you know, like the best team from each league all mashed into one tournament. But this time we're including the pure best teams from all over the world. Now you guys can, maybe you guys will say it's kind of a bit like the Super League, but it's not exclusive. Any team can make it if they are in the best. So we have 32 teams here. As you can see, we have a bunch of different groups, all the way 8 groups here, and we have all 32 teams. And now the way you enter in this tournament is basically being the best statistically ranked. So I went on a website, I saw it was, I think, football ranked or world football. I'll link the website in the description below so you guys can check it out for yourself. But basically it is all the clubs, and you know how they do FIFA rankings. It's basically the same thing but just with the clubs. So as you can see, we have all 32 teams. These are all the 32 teams that are ranked 32, so 1 through 32. Now there is some teams obviously that aren't on FIFA. Now there was a couple of Brazilian teams. I think there was a Serbian team as well, so obviously they were in the game, so I just had to go to the next team. So there's a couple of teams that were just outside the 32 and were able to make it in because of that. Now if we go through the groups have been placed accordingly, very strategically actually, based on the ranked. So Manchester City are the #1 ranked team, and guess who is number 2? Bayern Munich. So them two ended up in a group, but they got matched with the lowest ranked teams, which are Roma and River Plate, which those two teams are actually not in the top 32. They were just outside of it. But like I mentioned before, since there wasn't a couple of teams I couldn't put in FIFA, I had to get these teams on here. So it's pretty even the way I made it. So the top ranked teams, they get put together, and then they get put with like the lower ranked teams. Now obviously the lower you get, the more, I guess, even the group is. Our most even group is Group H: Newcastle, Real Sociedad, PSG, and Latium, at least based on ranking. Obviously PSG is the powerhouse in this group, but you know, you never know, they might not even get out of it. But as you can see, so I think Newcastle was ranked, I think they were ranked like 16, and then it goes down the list. So Real Sociedad are 17, PSG were 18, and then Lazio were 19. And so that's just how it is. So Man City, Bayern Munich, and then we have Real Madrid, Napoli, Salzburg, Brighton. In Group C we have Inter Milan, Liverpool, Ajax, PSV. Group D, Arsenal, FC Porto, Juventus, and Sporting. Group E, we have Benfica, Borussia Dortmund, Villarreal, and Feyenoord. Group F, Barcelona, Leipzig, Aston Villa, and Brentford. Group G, Atletico de Madrid, Manchester United, RC Lens, Milan, and then Group H, Newcastle, Real Sociedad, PSG, and Lazio, like you guys saw already. So some of these teams, I mean, it's all based on ranking. Now you guys might say, oh, some of these groups are a little bit unfair. Like, I mean, I guess in a way Barcelona's group is probably in a way easier, just because I mean, Aston Villa and Brentford, they had amazing season. They're actually pretty good teams, but I mean, just based on paper, I guess, you know, but based on ranking, it is pretty even there. So all these groups are even. So that is the tournament, guys. It's the best tournament there, best 32 teams ranked. So I mean, like I said, every year they're updated, I'm sure, the rankings. So every year we can do something like this as well, updated 32 teams and do another best tournament. So what we're gonna do, like the last video of the Club World Cup, we're gonna sim here all the games here. It's World Cup style once again, so everyone plays each other once, and the top 2 teams move on to the knockout stages, to the round of 16. So we're gonna find out. Make your predictions right now in the comments down below. Who do you guys think will be moving on, and who do you guys think is gonna win it? Make your early predictions now for the winners of the best tournament. Let's go ahead and start simming, guys, and I'll see you guys when the group stages are finished. Alrighty guys, so we have come to the conclusion of the group stages. I have not looked at them yet. Let's go ahead and check out to see who has made it through Group A. So as you can see, no surprise there, the top 2 best teams ranked in the world have moved on. Manchester City winning all 3 of their games, 9 points there, and Bayern coming in at 2nd place with 6 points, losing to Man City, looks like 2-0 there. And the Argentinian team River Plate coming 3rd, actually, surprisingly, beating Roma, and Roma unfortunately don't get any points, which ends in a disappointment there, and Jose Mourinho will be left out of the best round of 16. In Group B, a bit of a shocker here. Napoli tops the group, and Real Madrid, a super team, honestly, is 2nd place. One of the biggest, I mean, one of the best like European teams in the world, and they managed to scrape on by with 4 points there. They won 1, draw 1, and lost 1. And Napoli winning all 3 of their games, so they even beat Real Madrid. And Brighton, the English team, don't make it, as well as Salzburg, ending with 2 points and 1 point each. So we have Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and then Napoli and Real Madrid. So far the top top 4 teams have moved on. Let's see if the trend continues. In Group C, once again, the trend seems to be continuing. Liverpool and Inter gonna move on. Liverpool topping the group, also winning all 3 of the games. And it looks like we have a 3-way tie on points, and Inter barely scrape on by just because they had a 0 goal difference. PSV and Ajax both with -3. And I think, yeah, it looks like Liverpool battered both PSV and Ajax, which is why Inter moved on, because they only lost 1-0 to Liverpool there. So, I mean, the trend is still there, though. The top 6 teams have moved on so far ranked, and PSV and Ajax, both Netherlands teams, are going to miss out on the round of 16. In Group D, I think the trend is continuing. Actually, I think Porto is a little bit higher ranked. I'm not sure, though. But Juventus topped the group, 9 points there, 3 for 3. And Arsenal are going to be coming in second place there with 4 points. And FC Porto and Sporting, both 2 Portuguese teams, will be missing out on the round of 16 of the best tournament. And Juventus Arsenal will move on. A Group E, Borussia Dortmund there, 6 points, 2 wins, 1 loss to move on and top the group, with Benfica coming in second place, 4 points. And that's got to sting a little bit for rival fans, because it looks like they're the only Portuguese team to make it. Villarreal and Feyenoord are going to miss out. Villarreal barely actually missing out there. They also had 4 points, tied with Benfica, but had a -1 goal difference, and they are going to miss out. And Feyenoord getting last place with only 2 points there. Group F, probably the biggest shock of the tournament so far. FC Barcelona will not move on. They get it 3rd place. They didn't win a single game. They didn't lose a single game either, though, which is really weird. They drew all 3 of their games, and that is just, I seem to always jinx Barcelona, because I told you guys at the beginning that their group was probably the easiest one, but it seems like it was not, because they ended up actually not moving on. And RB Leipzig tops the group, and Aston Villa are going to move on with 4 points. Brentford ends in last. I mean, at least Barcelona didn't lose, you know. I guess that's one thing that we can walk away with. We didn't lose a game, but, you know, we didn't win one either, so it's kind of a little bit heartbreaking there. And then Group G, another little bit of a shocker, honestly. Manchester United are not going to move on. Atletico de Madrid and AC Milan will move on. Madrid tops the group with 7 points, and Milan in second place with 5. Honestly, that's a tough group. I'm not gonna lie. All 3 of those teams, very historic teams, and just Manchester United missed out. They won 1, but they lost 2, only getting the 3 points. Now, RC Lens, I think they're French, so the French team only get 1 point. Didn't win a single game there to end at the bottom. But Madrid and Milan move on. And finally, our last group, Group H, PSG topping in the group with 7 points there. Drew once and won twice. And Lazio come in second place to move on as well. 6 points there. Only lost 1 game and they won the remaining 2. Newcastle and Sociedad are going to miss out. Newcastle winning 1 game there. They did get 3 points, but was not enough as they lost 2. And Sociedad didn't manage to win a single game there. They only drew once and they lost the remaining 2. So there are your groups, guys. Most of the top teams, honestly, I mean, Newcastle I think is higher ranked than PSG, but I mean, like, just on paper, PSG just have a much like more talented, better team. And Lazio have moved on as well. I don't remember if Manchester United was higher ranked than Madrid or Milan. I don't really remember, but it just seems like most of the top ranked teams have moved on there. So that's an interesting. I guess it just really does prove their rankings here. So these are our round of 16 matchups: PSG against Benfica, RB Leipzig against Arsenal, Madrid versus Inter Milan, Manchester City versus AC Milan, and then on the other side here we have Liverpool versus Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund versus Lazio, Juventus versus Aston Villa, and then we have Napoli against Bayern Munich. It's going to be an interesting tie. Lots of really good games. I mean, at this point, it looks just more like a Champions League, you know, round of 16, in my opinion. A lot of you guys might be thinking, oh, it's just basically a Champions League. And in a way, it does look like it. A lot of these teams are European. We only had, what, one Argentinian team that was non-European. But other than that, everyone else was European. But hey, I thought it was still a good idea. So if you guys think it's kind of a, you know, let me know in the comments and we can, you know, discuss. But I think it's still pretty interesting to see. And I mean, not a lot of these teams also make their Champions League. Like, I think Brighton didn't make the Champions League. We have Spurs who makes Champions League, and they're not in here, obviously, because they're not ranked that high. We have teams like Sevilla who constantly make Europa League and Champions League. They're not on here. A lot of teams that usually make Champions League, they're just not on here just purely because of their ranking. But we're going to get right into our round of 16 matches. Our first matchup, PSG versus Benfica. We're going to sim this one. I took Messi out of the squad lineup just so that he wouldn't get any time, because I mean, he's not in the team anymore. Some of these other players are not in the team, like Ramos, but I mean, it makes really no big difference. But Messi is like a huge difference, of course. But let's see, guys. We're gonna sim the first match. I think PSG, honestly, I mean, they're probably one of the favorites to win in the tournament just purely because of the talent that they have. But let's see if they can get a win here. Who will win it, or will Benfica upset it? Let's see, guys. Can they win it? And it's going to be a convincing 2-0. Mbappe scores and Danilo. And a convincing 2-0 as PSG are the first teams to make it to the quarterfinals of the best tournament. All right, our next round of 16 match, RB Leipzig versus Arsenal. This is going to be an interesting one. I think this is probably a more even matchup. RB Leipzig have a pretty good team, honestly. But Arsenal, as you guys know, are a pretty giant team now. They ended up in second in the Premier League last season, so they're pretty good. Let's see who wins, though. We're going to quick sim it, and who will go on to the quarterfinals. It's going to be RB Leipzig. That is a shocker. I expected Arsenal to do a little bit better, I guess. Odegaard and Jesus scored, but it was not enough as Orban got the winning goal for them in the 67th minute there. And then Cuckoo, who's actually a Chelsea player now, got a goal as well. So some of these matches, it's FIFA 23. The squads aren't completely updated. So there's going to be some players that, you know, aren't there in real life anymore. But unfortunately, there's not really much I can do. Our next match, Madrid versus Inter Milan. A very interesting matchup, to say the least. Inter Milan have a great team, but so do Atletico. Let's see who's going to win this match and move on to the quarterfinals. It's going to be Atletico de Madrid 2-0. Morata and Molina both scoring the goals there to get a nice convincing 2-0 win. And unfortunately, Inter, oh my god, they had some bad ratings. Look at that. They're going to miss out on the quarterfinals, and Madrid moves on to the quarterfinals of the best. Undoubtedly the favorites of the tournament, Manchester City, ranked #1 currently in the world. So there's no doubt that the pressure is all on them. And look at that, Haaland has a red card, so he's actually going to miss out. Will that hurt Manchester City? Will that affect them? We're just going to auto replace, and let's see if they can win, or will Milan upset? They will not. Manchester City will scrape by 1-0. Grealish will score the goal, and that will be the winner there. And Man City, the favorites so far of the tournament, number 1 ranked in the world, will move on to the quarterfinals. So that's the first side done. We're going to go on to the second side now. Liverpool versus Real Madrid, a classic. Real Madrid have dominated Liverpool over these years in the Champions League. I think they obviously getting to two separate finals, and Madrid topping them. Will Liverpool get the revenge here? Let's find out. We're going to quick sim it. Will they do it? Liverpool, they will not. Real Madrid will best them yet again. 2-1 it ends, and Vinny Jr. and Benzema, who's obviously not on the team anymore, get the goals there, and Mohamed Salah gets the goal in the 86th minute, but was not enough, and Liverpool are going to miss out on the quarterfinals. Our next round of 16 match, Borussia Dortmund versus Lazio. Let's see who's going to win this one. A pretty even matchup, I think. I think probably Dortmund has a better overall squad. Maybe they have a little bit more depth than Lazio, but Lazio recently in times have been pretty good in Italy and the Champions League as well. Let's find out who will win it. It's going to be a Borussia Dortmund there, 2-1 win. Adeyemi and Ryerson with the goals, and Lazio, Luis Alberto gets the goal, but it's not enough, and Borussia Dortmund will move on to the quarterfinals. Our next match, Juventus versus Aston Villa. Let's see who's going to win this one. Aston Villa, honestly, a little bit of a dark horse in this tournament. Maybe they can do something, but as you can see, their squad is heavily undermatched against Juventus. Will they pull off the upset, though? Let's find out who's going to win it. It's going to be Juventus. 2-1 against Aston Villa. Di Maria and Kostic, who Di Maria is also not on their team, so another, a lot of these are just going to be like that. Some of the players, it's just not updated. Unfortunately, I can't really do much about it. And Ramsey scores a goal for Aston Villa, but it's not enough. And Juventus move on. Our final round of 16 match, Napoli versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, #2 ranked, and Napoli are #4 ranked. So it's a battle of the Titans on paper here. And let's see who wins this one. Will Bayern Munich assert their dominance here as #2, or will Napoli maybe be a little bit of dark horse in this tournament? Let's find out who will win this match. Is it going to be? It's going to be Napoli. They move on penalties there. 2-2 it ended. And unfortunately, it looks like Gnabry, Goretzka. Oh my god, so many people missed. It really came down to the wire there. A lot of misses there. Look at that. Napoli had back-to-back misses, and so did Bayern. But somehow they come back from it and they win. And it ends 4-3 to Napoli, and they will move on. And Napoli slaying the #2 ranked team. And Bayern Munich are going to go out in the round of 16. What a shocker. All right, the first matches of our quarterfinals. Let's see who is going to move on to the semis. PSG versus RB Leipzig. It's going to be an interesting one. PSG, one of the favorites so far, but one of the lower ranked teams. I think Leipzig might be higher ranked. I'm not sure. I got to check again, but let's go ahead and find out who's going to win this one. It's going to be PSG 3-2. Mbappe, Hakimi, and Neymar getting the goals there, and Leipzig barely losing. 78th minute is when Neymar scored the winner there, and unfortunately Leipzig will end their run here in the quarterfinals, and PSG are our first team to move on to the semifinals of the best tournament. Another clash of some titans. The #1 ranked team having the most pressure. The #2 just got knocked out, so will the #1 continue to dominate, or will they get knocked out as well? Atletico may have something to say about that. Let's go ahead and find out. We're going to quick sim it here. Will Man City win? They are not going to win. Another giant has been slain, and they actually went to extra time. It was, looks like it was 2-2 after regular time, and they went to extra time, and Atletico managed to score 2 in extra time to seal it. And Man City, the #1 ranked team, the favorite, the heavy favorites going into this, Champions League winners, treble winners, unfortunately will not make it to the final and will not win the best tournament this year. Atletico have slain them, and they will be moving on to the semifinals. All right, another quarterfinals match, Real Madrid versus Dortmund. This is going to be interesting. A little bit of history between these two teams as well. Let's see who will win this one. Real Madrid, pretty much the favorites in this game as well. Will they be able to accomplish that? Yes, they will. 2-1 against Borussia Dortmund. A little bit closer than I thought, actually. Looks like they scored back-to-back. Looks like Dortmund scored, and then Real Madrid answered right back and got the winner there. And Real Madrid will be moving on. Our final quarterfinal match, a battle of the Italian teams. Let's see who will win this one. Juventus versus Napoli. A classic match. And let's see who will win this game. Will Juventus, Napoli, the Serie A winners of this past season against the, dominant Juventus who dominated the Serie A for a while now. Let's see who will win it. We're going to quick sim it. Napoli slain Bayern, and Napoli will not move on. They lose to Juventus, man. That is crazy. They beat Bayern, but somehow they just could not beat Juventus. I mean, that's just what happens when you go against teams in your league. It's just, it's completely different. But here we are. It's all down to this now. The semifinal, PSG versus Atletico, and Real Madrid versus Juventus. Let's see who will go on to the final here. We have 2 matches to play. The first one is going to be PSG versus Atletico. Who will win here? Let's see it. Who will go on to the final? PSG, a convincing 3-1 win. Hakimi with 2 goals, and Verratti, it actually wasn't that convincing. It was actually 1-1 in regular time, and they had to go to extra time, and PSG sealed it with 2 goals there. That is a pretty much shocker. I expected Atletico to do a bit better. I mean, going to 1-1, going to extra time is always a pretty good match anyways. So PSG will go to the final. So PSG, if you guys remember our Club World Cup video, they actually had a disappointing run in that tournament, and they have redeemed themselves by getting to the final of the best tournament. And we have one more match to see who will go against PSG, Real Madrid or Juventus. Also another classic match. Usually we see this in the Champions League a couple years ago, and this would have been amazing to watch. But, Juventus in recent times haven't been the greatest. Real Madrid, though, are still a very dominant team, a very young team. So let's see if they can go and meet PSG in the final, or will Juventus upset them? Let's find out who will go on. It's going to be Real Madrid. No surprise there. A convincing 2-0 win. Modric and Asensio with the goals there. And it's going to be a pretty good match here. Real Madrid against PSG in the final. And what a match that's going to be. What a match. PSG versus Real Madrid. Mbappe facing his potentially new club here. Will he be able to snatch the trophy from Real Madrid, or will Real Madrid dominate once again? I mean, if you just look at the teams side by side, I mean, it's pretty even. I'd say their midfield, Real Madrid's midfield, obviously no comparison to PSG. They're just miles ahead. PSG's defense isn't bad at all compared to Madrid's, and their attack either. I mean, Mbappe and Neymar together, it's a pretty deadly duo. So let's see who will win this. Will PSG finally win their first international trophy here, or will Real Madrid seal themselves as always the best team in the world with this final? Let's go ahead and see. We're gonna quick sim it at the San Siro here in Italy. Who will win it? Let's find out. It's going to be PSG. No way. They won on penalties. And oh my god, Vinny Jr. missed a penalty, and Hakimi seals it, wins it for PSG, and Mbappe steals the trophy from his potentially new club here. Neymar actually scored the goal early, and Benzema fired back here, and it was just stale the whole game after that, and they had to go to penalties, and Vinny Jr. missed the penalty, and oh my goodness, man, Neymar, Mbappe, I mean, they all scored the penalties, so they just really came down to that one penalty. But PSG have solidified themselves as the best team in the best tournament here, and they finally get an international trophy. And what a moment for PSG, the PSG fans, and for Mbappe as well, finally getting a trophy for PSG, even though he's probably gonna leave, just getting something at least. Take a look at the player stats. Mbappe actually was top goal scorer by a mile, 8 goals in 7 matches there. The second place was Morata with 4. So a very good performance from Mbappe. He probably got player of the tournament. And assist went to Griezmann, 4 assists in 6 matches. And clean sheets, Szczesny from Juventus, 3 clean sheets in 6 matches there. And no surprise there, Mbappe has been announced as player of the tournament, of the best tournament. And there it is, Mbappe with the trophy there with the gaffer. And what a moment it is for PSG. So there you guys have it. PSG are your winners of this best tournament. Let me know what you guys thought of this little tournament experiment. I like doing these types of tournament. I'm trying to think of more like different tournaments that I can do. Maybe I'll do like a North America with the South America one purely just to see some, like, you know, just to see those teams. I don't know. I have so much ideas to look around. You guys can make suggestions as well on different tournament ideas I can do while we wait for EAFC 24 to come out. At this point, I'm just passing time playing FIFA 23. But I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new. Hit the bell notification. Get notified when all of my videos go live. Check out my Twitch and all my other social media in the description below. I'll leave a link for the website that had all the rankings for the teams, and that's how I based my groups and the teams that were in this tournament. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.